Hello, during the next 10 minutes we will discuss the most important business events taking place between September 27th and 30th. You're watching events around the corner on Kazakh TV. The UN summit will end in New York on September 27th. Russia's Federal Antitrust Service will announce a decision on Google's activities. The US government will not give governance of the Internet to the global community on the 30th, as was planned before. Let's discuss this news in detail. The UN summit to adopt a post-2015 Sustainable Development Agenda will be over in New York on September 27th. It is expected the declaration will be passed at the summit on sustainable development in the economic, social and environmental protection spheres. Under-Secretary General for Economic and Social Affairs, Bo, noted 17 goals and 169 tasks have been defined in the new agenda. He stressed the objectives have been outlined by the member countries over the 3-year negotiations. Bo reminded that the work was started by the Open Working Group, comprising representatives of 30 UN member countries. Later on, representatives of all 193 nations joined in. 500 goals were proposed at first, but after 3 years of negotiations, the number was reduced to 17. The UN official emphasized that despite some disagreements, all stakeholders agreed that the current rate and forms of consumption are unfair and dangerous for the planet. Kazakhstan developed its own concept of sustainable development in 2006. DriedCon will end in Moscow on September 27th. This Eurasian conference has been held since 2009 in different countries, convening more than 1,000 Android developers. DriedCon is a meeting point for developers, stakeholders in the mobile technology sector, telecom and IT experts. The objective of the forum is to find new ways of using the Android platform for business development. More than 40 leading specialists from major technology companies and Google developers groups will deliver presentations at the conference. Among the key topics of DriedCon Moscow 2015 are new features of Android, portable devices, cloud services, the Internet of Things, Android TV and augmented reality. Experts will share secrets of promoting products via Google Play and dwell on how developers should use analytics. The conference, to be held from September 25th to 27th, is a chance for promising startups to demonstrate their Android-based projects to leading venture funds. The 66th International Car Show will be over in Frankfurt on September 27th. International Motor Show Cars is one of the oldest car shows in the world. The first show took place in 1897. Back then, 8 cars were demonstrated to the public at the Bristol Hotel in Berlin. The show has been divided into 2 parts since 1992. Truck shows are held on even years, and automobiles and motorbike shows on odd years. The event is organized by the Automotive Union of Germany. Manufacturers showcase both new serial manufactured passenger cars that will appear in the streets soon and concept cars that will shape the future of the industry. Almost all of the global car makers will present their production, including German, Japanese, French, Italian and British manufacturers. The car sales in the old world remain stable despite the financial crisis. On September 28th, the Federal Anti-Monopoly Service of Russia will issue its ruling regarding Google's abuse of dominant market position. The Russian watchdog found the search engine guilty of anti-competitive practices related to how the company bundles apps with its Android mobile operating system. In February this year, Russia's Yandex complained to FAS against Google. The reason, as reported by Yandex, was the full prohibition of presetting any Yandex services on any Google devices. Yandex believes a stronger competition in mobile devices was the reason for its share of the Russian internet searches to drop. In November 2014, the share fell to 59.5%. Yandex representatives said that if a user chooses a by-default search engine, The Android devices share remains at 47%. According to the Russian company, at the time being, Android accounted for 86% of devices sold in Russia and more than 84% of devices sold worldwide. Yandex believed that their own version of Android titled Yandex.Kit would strengthen its positions in the mobile market. However, the company faced Google's prohibition of pre-installation of products developed by certain other companies on Android devices. The prohibition was supposed to seriously violate the plans of the Russian search engine. In March this year, the Russian company was supported by the Fair Search organization, which is fighting monopolists. Its members include Microsoft, Oracle and Nokia, among others. Fair Search filed a similar complaint against Google to the European Commission in 2013. Yandex is welcoming FAS ruling. Despite the fact that the European Commission has launched a formal investigation against Google, Russia is the first jurisdiction that officially acknowledged these practices as anti-competitive. There have been successful precedents in the international practice. In 2009, the European Union obliged Microsoft to offer users choice of browsers at the start of a computer. Yandex believes the FAS ruling will help to restore healthy competition in the market. Presently, the US-based company is facing a fine of 1 to 15% of the revenues during the last year in the market where a violation has been made. On September 29th, amendments to the federal law protecting the citizens' rights in case of an employer's bankruptcy will come into force. After the law comes into effect, the staff who haven't been paid on time may file a lawsuit to the administrative court to announce the employee bankrupt. The salary debt due to lack of funds will be the reason for a lawsuit by the debtor itself. Simultaneously, the standards regarding the compensation of moral damage have been excluded from the federal law on bankruptcy. On September 30th, the US Department of Commerce will not transfer the governance of the Internet to the global community of Internet stakeholders, as was reported earlier. The US government will renew its contract with ICANN for another year with possibility of prolongation by 3 more years. The reason for this decision was that the Internet community failed to develop a consolidated proposal to transfer Internet governance functions. The Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers was created in 1998 to administer registries of Internet Protocol identifiers. The ICANN Corporation also signs contracts with companies which sell domain names for websites. The US authorities have been supervising ICANN since its creation, although at first it was planned that the controls be passed to private entities. Previously, the US Commerce Department stated that it will transfer Internet supervision to the global community only if the proposed model takes account of interests of all stakeholders, the Internet community, businesses and states. One of the most important conditions is that no country or group of countries should interfere in the Internet governance. At the same time, the US was against giving the controls to an international organization, such as the United Nations or the International Telecommunication Union. This position had been widely criticized. Doubts have been voiced that the US would transfer the governance within the designated period. As early as 2011, the US National Telecom and Information Administration invited tenders to renew the contract. The reason for that was the position of several countries regarding the Internet governance. In particular, they were unhappy with the performance of ICANN. In March 2012, the administration said it hadn't received any proposals that met the requirements of the global Internet community and announced tenders invalid. As a result, the US government signed a new 3-year contract with ICANN, which will expire on September 30th this year. This has been our perspective on the coming few days. You've watched Events Around the Corner. See you next time on Kazakh TV.